Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a card using this Hello Bluebird Field Mice stamp set. So I've stamped out the images I'll be using on some Nina Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm coloring with my Copic markers. I'm starting with my mice, and for them I'm using E50, E51, E53, and E55. I'm laying in some shadows with the E55, and I'm going to be doing a central light source, so that means the sun is right between them. So the shading will be down their backs and the highlight will be on their face. That's where I want the sun to hit. So once I have those shadows laid in with the E55, I'm going to begin to blend out with the E53. I'm putting just the slightest bit of shadow on the right side of this little guy's belly just to make him look nice and pudgy. That gives it a rounded appearance that just lifts it off the page. So I added just a little bit of that. And then I'm going to continue to blend out with the E51. And I'm going to save quite a bit of room for that E50 so that he is nice and light, especially on his face and his tummy. Once I have all of those colors kind of mapped out, I'm going to go over him with a second layer, and this kind of just really beefs up the saturation of the markers. It just makes it much more intense, your coloring, and also just provides a smoother transition from shade to shade. This second layer is always quick and easy because, like I said, the colors are mapped out for you already. All you have to do is go over them. And I'm also going to color in his tail using the E53 as my darkest. I will color this in some pinks later on, but I wanted it to have that same brownish undertone. So for the second mouse, I'm coloring him exactly the same, but since the video is kind of short otherwise today, I decided to leave it in just so you can see the difference of the shadows, since I'm doing the opposite side for him. Since he is facing toward the left, I'm doing his shadows down the right-hand side of his body using the exact same markers in the exact same order. But I did also want to show you the difference between the single layer and the double layer. So once I get him all finished up, I'm going to show you that so you can really see how much of a difference it really does make to go over your images once again. So if you're struggling to get a really nice blend on your images, or just to eradicate those lines, see, now you can see the difference between the mouse on the left and the mouse on the right. The mouse on the left is just much more rich in color, and it also has that smoother blend. The other one, you can see those lines a little bit more visibly where each of those marker shades kind of delineate. So once again, just like the other mouse, I'm going to go back over him quickly with each of those marker shades so that they're both on the same level of depth. And by the way, even though I chose to do these in these particular browns today, you could do your mice in so many different shades. Mice are actually one of my absolute favorite images to color, along with bunnies, because there's just so many varieties and coloring opportunities. So next I'm taking RV10 and RV11, and I'm going to color in their ears, nose, tails, and also give them some rosy cheeks, using the RV11 first as the darkest and then blending a little bit out in some areas with the RV10. I did also give them some little pink feet, which I think makes them look extra sweet. I forgot to color the mouse on the right's tail with the brown, so I wanted that to be similar, so I did that quick off camera, and then I'll just go over that with the pink shades as well. And then they're not quite so bright pink, just makes them look a little bit more natural. So for the strawberries, I'm going to use R22, R24, R29, and R39, and that is because I really wanted to go from a deep, rich red down at the bottom to a kind of soft salmony pink at the top. So this is going to give me a very natural transition up the strawberry. So I'm just trying very carefully to color around the seeds. If you go over them, it's not a big deal. I'm going to show you a way to make them look bright white at the end here, but I just thought I might as well try to skip them if I could. And then I'm going to do the other strawberry exactly the same. Now I did not do a second layer on the berries. I tend to usually only do it on the larger images and then not worry about it on the smaller images unless it's clear that they need it. But these particular red combination, they blend really nicely together, and so it didn't really need that second layer. It just really depends on the blend that you're getting with the particular markers that you've chosen to use. So if you see clear lines, go ahead and go over it, like I'm going to do with these greens. So I'm using G20, G24, and G28 for the strawberry tops and stems, starting with the G28 closest to the berry, and then blending up with the G24 and then the G20. Now I really like how the G20 gives it that nice highlight, but there is quite a bit of difference between the G20 and the G24. So in this case, I did go over it with a second layer, even though the images were small, just because I really like that nice blend. So I'm going to do the same steps with the strawberry that's in the mouse's arms, but I'm going to just do the shading a little bit different since we're not seeing that top from the bottom like we did with the other one. We're seeing it from overhead. So I did my shading in the center instead of from the bottom edges of the leaves. And then I'm also going to color in the leaves of the flowers with just the G28 and the G24. I wanted the flower blossoms to look white like strawberry flowers, so I just went over those quickly with the BG10, just outlining them. And then for the centers, I'm going to fill those in with the Y17, and then use the Y13, Y15, and Y17 to color in the butterfly. I just wanted a bright, happy color on the scene to have like a nice bright sunshiny look, and those yellows I thought were the perfect touch. And I'm coloring the body of the butterfly in with E57 and E59. So now I'm going to take a white gel pen and just dot those seeds back in so that they look nice and bright white. So if you had wanted to, you could have just colored right over them if it's easier, if you have a gel pen and you can do this step. And then I'm going to take a black gel pen and just dot over the mice's eyes to make them look really bright and shiny. And then I'll trim these out with the matching dies. So I'm going to build my scene entirely from pattern paper today. This is the Tea Lightful collection from Pebbles. I'm not sure that this is still available. It was in my stash, but any kind of pattern paper that has some different scene building elements like clouds or some kind of a green that could be used for grass would work. I've trimmed these down with the Lawn Fawn Stitch Journaling card die, and I've mounted it to a piece of cheap white Georgia Pacific cardstock just to give it a little extra stability. And then I trimmed down the green border with the Lawn Fawn stitched hillside borders and adhered that to the bottom. Then I'm going to pop that into my MISTI and stamp a sentiment using VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I'm using the sentiment that says, "Well, hello there." And I'm stamping that down twice so it's nice and bold because it is a very delicate font, which I love. And then I'm popping my card base into my MISTI. I'm using Lawn Fawn's Guava cardstock and Lobster ink to stamp out a sentiment that says, "Just sitting here thinking of you," and then it's got another little mouse and that butterfly with its trail. I thought this is a great any occasion card. So now I'm ready to begin adhering my images, and I'm going to use my favorite Tombow Mono multi-glue, which is nice because you can kind of put your images down and then you have a few seconds to adjust them as needed before that glue dries permanently. So I'm going to put the mouse that's holding the strawberry right under the sentiment on the right, and then the other little guy is going to go on the left. I'm going to give him the other strawberry to hold. So I'm imagining that these guys have gone out into the strawberry field on the farm, and they have each brought home a treat for dinner or for dessert that day. So they're just having a good old time, compiling their goods. And then I added the butterfly up in the sky next to the sentiment to highlight that. And the 3 little flowers I'm going to put down in a row on the bottom to just fill in the rest of that scene. Since the top part is full of those tiny clouds, it's a little bit busier. So those flowers just kind of make things even out. I've trimmed down 2 more pieces of pattern paper from that delightful collection with the Lawn Fawn outside in stitch rectangle stackables. So I'm going to adhere that strawberry piece down flat to the card. It's going to give me that nice border of that guava cardstock on the edges. And then because I also die cut this thinner strip, the stitching detail on the sides is going to line up perfectly. So I'm going to center that across. I thought it kind of reminded me of a picnic tablecloth, which kind of worked perfectly for this little story that I'm building in my head about these guys. So they can go have a little picnic now with their berries. I peeled off the release paper from the foam tape on the back and just centered that on the card and popped it down into place. So I'm going to lift that up to show you all the detail and give you another peek at the inside. But the video isn't quite over yet. I did want to show you guys another quick way to use some of your pattern paper scraps. So I had 2 thin strips of this strawberry pattern left over and another wide strip of the kind of picnic table cloth pattern. So what I did was I just lined those strawberry pieces up at the top and bottom of that die. And so I was able to get them to line up perfectly with the edges. And then once I layer this picnic tablecloth piece over the center, you won't even be able to tell that the strawberry pattern wasn't a whole sheet of paper. So if you have like some little scraps of one of your favorite patterns and it's not enough to use on a full size card, this is a great way to kind of just cheat a little bit and still get the same exact look. So I made another focal panel, and you can't even tell the difference, honestly. They both look exactly the same. So I hope you guys find that tip helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have your support. You can also ring that notification bell if you want to be sure that my videos always end up in your feed. And like so many of us, if you find yourself with extra free time and you'd like to keep on watching, here are 2 extra videos I thought you might also enjoy, so you can click on either one of those to check them out. I hope that you're all staying safe and healthy and that you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye-bye.